Hi Aries, welcome to your March 2019 Tarology 33 reading, and happy birthday to those of you who have a birthday at the end of March. This is a Celtic cross spread in front of us as usual. Guys got a couple extra cards. You got two, I believe, in the position of the near future, and then one in the past position. And then we have two oracle decks that we look at as usual at the end of the reading, and you guys actually got an extra card from the spirit animal oracle there. And then we have a mudra card to get to at the end as well. It's quite a bit of messages to get through, so we'll get started with the main spread. And in the main situation position, you have the Ace of Wands. So to me, this shows that you have an idea about something that you want to get started. You know, I always say with the aces as opposed to the pages, it doesn't necessarily represent that it's ready to be acted out yet, but it's definitely something that's on your mind. You know, that's kind of what I view that cloud as resembling there. It's like it's something that's in the air, it's in your mind, but you just haven't put it into action just yet. And you know, that could definitely be the case as far as for a pretty good chunk of March. You know, the sun is going to be in your 12th house, and that's usually a time of a bit of lower energy. And then Mercury is going to be retrograde in that house as well. So you might have ideas, you know, especially your inner world could get pretty busy when you have a lot of stuff going on in your 12th house, which would be the case for you early in the month. And maybe with all that energy, you know, you have a lot of ideas coming to you, but you're just not quite sure how to put them into action just yet. If that's the case, that's perfectly normal, and that energy, you should feel it start to clear up as we move along in the month, and then, you know, the sun jumps into your sign. And Mercury will come out of retrograde towards the end of the month as well. So that could help clear up any fog there, if that's the case. The reason I'm saying that, even though this is in the upright, the reason I'm saying that it could be that you're just having an issue actually trying to figure out how to put this idea into reality is because in the challenge or obstacle position, we have the Magician card. So to me, that's saying that your challenge or obstacle is to actually manifest whatever this idea is, you know. And when this card comes out, I like to look at where their hands are pointing. So, you know, you have the one hand there, the other there. So when we put it in the position it falls in the spread, we see he's pointing towards the Four of Swords there, and then also towards the King of Pentacles. Now, there are other cards in both of those positions, but just on the surface level, let's say that, you know, it's saying that in the past, you know, you've been really thinking this through, how to actually manifest something into a tangible reality. And it could definitely be related to finances for some of you, just because, you know, I see that energy of like really thinking things through, trying to figure out how to put it into action, and then the King of Pentacles being related to finances in general. It's a Taurus card, but especially for you guys, that's your second house, and the second house is a heavy financial house. So that's definitely the vibe I'm getting from most of you. This is an idea that you have, and you're trying to think of how you could manifest it into something that could actually give you some kind of gains as far as the income goes. In the foundation position, we have the King of Cups. This is a court card for Scorpio. So some of you could definitely be dealing with a Scorpio, because usually when I see a court card, you know, the first thing I'll do is, okay, it probably represents a person. Then I try to think of if anything is going on in that sign. And there's nothing really going on in Scorpio right now. And then I also think about the ruler, which is Pluto. And, you know, by the time March comes around, Mars will actually be out of your sign. So, you know, it did square Pluto at one point earlier in February. But, you know, at this point, the next connection it does make with Pluto is actually going to be, your sign's going to be in the sign of Taurus all through the month of March. And it's actually going to make a harmonious aspect with Pluto. So maybe that's what it's saying. So maybe if there have been some difficulties, like I said, with that Pluto and Mars square that you went through, that might have, you know, felt like there was a blockage there in that area. And now maybe with your ruler moving into your sign of finances, your second house, and then making a harmonious aspect with Pluto, that could really help you out. But for some of you, this could just be saying flat out that you're dealing with a Scorpio. maybe they're involved with this potential business venture you're trying to get off the ground. Some of you, this could even be a relationship. Maybe this is, if we're going to look at it from the relationship front, maybe this is something you just have that deep attraction for this person, right? But you're trying to think, well, how can I move this towards something more stable with them? And maybe that's what the Taurus card represents there, right? That stability. Okay, I really have a thing for this person. I think about them a lot. I'm definitely attracted to them. How do I actually turn that into something concrete, right? Especially if we look at the fact that the King of Cups is looking at that Ace of Pentacles card, which means that, maybe they're waiting for you to make them an offer of some kind. But we'll see how that plays out as we go along. For some of you, it could definitely be more finance related. We'll see though. In the past position, we have the Four of Swords and the Queen of Swords. So these are actually both the Libra cards. This represents the last 10 degrees of Libra, and then this is actually the court card for Libra. So this could be talking about maybe healing from a relationship, because Libra represents your 7th house. So you might have had a breakup of some kind in a relationship, and you're in a healing phase from that, or at least in the past position, we'll say that you were. I'm actually recording this in the mid-February, so, from the March perspective, that could still be perceived as the past, right? But, whatever the case may be, this doesn't seem like it necessarily would have been from too far back. But yeah, and again, this could just be about balance as well. This could just be saying, again, you have this idea for something. Okay, it's great to have this as an idea. It's something I'm passionate about. But can I make it something that's realistic and practical, right? So that's what you've been mulling over for a while. Like I said, with all that activity going on in your 12th house for a pretty good chunk of this month, that would totally make sense if that's what you're trying to work your way through. But either way, this is always a good step to be in, if you're feeling unsure about something, to think things over and come at it with a balanced approach, whether it be relationships, finances, whatever the case. And then in the present position, we have the Six of Swords. So what I do like about seeing this card followed up immediately after the Four of Swords is, if we think about the Five of Swords, for example, the Five of Swords represents ego conflicts and, just petty battles. So to me, what that says, going from the 4 and then the 6 immediately following that says to me that whatever this is about, you're going about it in the right way. If it's how do I, get more income in my job, right? It shows to me that you're not going to do anything, a little bit shady to get there. It shows me that you would actually go about it the right way. If you feel that someone in the past might have done something wrong to you in a relationship setting, you might feel that, I'm not even going to get into an ego conflict with this person. I'm just going to move on. Just a few ways that these energies play out. And then this card actually represents Aquarius as well. And so thinking about what's going on with the Aquarius in the month of March, Venus is actually going to be moving through that house most of March. So this could just be saying maybe even repairing some friendships. If this was a friendship situation, for example, maybe you're trying to think to yourself, okay, do I, really want to fight with my friend, or do I just want to move past it and maybe get things back on track? That could be the case there. I'm getting the vibe there. If it is a conflict thing, it's definitely more friendship than relationship, but for some of you, it could definitely be relationships as well. But I just think it's more of an energetic thing. You've been thinking about something, thinking, and then coming into this month, you're actually ready to move on, whatever that may be. Like I said, whatever new idea you have, it seems like you're moving closer to figuring out how you want to tackle that, right? Okay, and then in the near future position, you got a couple extra cards here. You got the King of Pentacles, which is a Taurus court card. the Three of Wands, which actually represents you guys. That's the middle 10 degrees of Aries. So for those of you born right at the beginning of April, or your moon or your rising signs in those degrees, this might resonate for you a bit more. And then we have the Seven of Cups. So looking at these three together, again, I just get the feeling that, like I said, there's going to be some energy in your second house. For one, I already mentioned the fact that Mars will be there all month. But then pretty early on in the month as well, Uranus is going to be moving out of your sign into Taurus. So this is another indicator of what could be going on there. And maybe those two energies coming together in that house really helps you get that financial boost that you're looking for. Some kind of movement, basically. And it would be an improved movement as well. And to me, with the Three of Wands beneath that, this shows me that this is something that you've been putting work in on for a while now, and now you're just waiting for, seeing the tangible results to come about. So this could be one that actually does happen for you. And then it could end up being that, you might end up with multiple options, maybe things that you weren't expecting. Again, with Uranus moving into your second house, maybe you end up with more financial opportunities than you expected. And now the challenge would be for you to figure out, well, which one do you want to go with, right? The way I always explain this card is like, if we look at it from our perspective, it looks like we could see those cups very clearly, right? We know what's in them. But if we look at this person here, they're completely in the dark. So to me, this shows that, you might not be seeing the options clearly. And if that's the case, I would point to that again, probably being due to the fact that, like I said, the sun's going to be in your 12th house for the first few weeks of March. And Mercury is going to be retrograde in that same house. So, that could definitely lead to a fog for anyone, but especially for someone having that kind of energy going on in their 12th house. So, if that's the case, maybe the message here is to say, stay put for a bit. That Taurus energy, take on that steady, patient energy. That Three of Wands also being a bit of a steady, patient energy. It's referred to the waiting for your ships to come in energy. So, that could be maybe even pointing to the very first week in April. There's going to be a new moon in your sign that's actually going to be in these degrees. So maybe that's what it's saying, that by then that fog should be cleared, which would make sense because that retrograde energy will be, cleared by then and everything. But either way, put it this way, even if you don't get the tangible results in the month of March, I'm pretty sure you're at least going to see that it's going to pan out for you in the month. So that's what I would say, don't push it too far. Like if you're not getting any signs at all, then okay, yeah, maybe you would have to move. But if you do see pretty tangible proof that things are turning around for you, just trust that, okay, it might take a little bit longer, that's all. And maybe that's what this Ace of Pentacles represents here in the position of your influence on the situation. Because again, just like I was saying with the Ace of Wands, as opposed to the Page of Pentacles, let's say, where you could see the money's actually being given to the person, here it's just more in the idea phase. So maybe after all the thinking you do, you decide, okay, I know how I want to move forward with this now, right? But maybe there's a slight holdup. You might have to wait for something to clear up before you could actually make the physical investment. For others of you, it might be a job offer, right? Maybe they tell you, yes, we're going to give you the job. It starts in April, right? Middle of April is when the job opens officially. So you're like, okay, cool. I know I'm officially hired. I signed all the paperwork, but now I have to wait until that start date, right? Or maybe, okay, cool, I'm going to start at the end of March, but I'm not going to get my first paycheck until April, right? So it's like the fog will clear up one way or the other. You'll have more clarity on what's going to happen. It just might not physically be right in front of you at that time. That's the main vibe that I'm getting there. And again, like I was saying before too, to go back to that relationship dynamic, especially since we do have the Lovers here and we have the Knight of Cups at the bottom of the deck, this could just be you deciding that, okay, I'm ready to make an offer to this person. Most likely it looks like it'd be a water sign, given that there's quite a few water cards here. We have Scorpio. This is technically actually a Pisces card too, and then this is a Cancer card. So it could be any water sign, but Could just be someone who takes on an energy too. They seem very intuitive, in touch with their emotions, very loving, caring people. That could be the type of person that it is, but yeah, maybe this is you deciding, okay, I'm ready to move forward in some way and make some offer to this person. In the position of the environment's influence on the situation, we have the Lovers. So this is actually the major arcana card for Gemini. Some of you could be dealing with a Gemini, certainly. What I'm really thinking this could be about too, though, is the fact that pretty much right as April kicks off, you guys are going to have your ruler moving into the sign of Gemini. So maybe that's what this is saying, is that, things might seem a little bit slow for you initially. You might be thinking things over. Okay, how am I going to move forward in this area? Like I said, be it a relationship, finances. It could really go either way. I see the finance indicators and I see potential relationship indicators. But whatever it is, when Mars moves into your third house, which is the house that Gemini naturally rules, and it's the house of communication, that could really give you that spark to, whether it be to communicate to someone that you're into, hey, I want to, maybe asking them out, right? With a idea you have to generate income. Maybe you finally put yourself out there towards the end of the month and continuing into April. That could be what that energy is really pointing to. For others of you, though, with this in the position in the environment, it could even be that you're so focused on other areas of life, but then you actually have a love offer arrive to you too. They say that that's how it always happens, right? You stop looking for it, you focus on other areas of life, you start gaining some traction in those areas of life, and then out of the blue, it seems like something new comes along. So that could be what that's pointing to as well. And I mean, you guys are going to have, like I said, I'm recording this, around mid-February, but I'm thinking towards the end of March, right when the sun goes into your sign, you're actually going to have a full moon in your opposite sign too. So maybe that's when there's some kind of shift in relationships as well. In the position of the hopes or fears, we have the Eight of Swords. So to me, this would definitely play out as more of a fear than a hope. I don't think anyone ever hopes to be in this position, right? It doesn't look like an ideal position to be in. But to me, this could just be saying that you might be fearing that you'd be stuck, right? Like if you're coming into the month, you have this idea, it's great, but you're having trouble manifesting it into reality. You're, in the past, you've been thinking it over a lot. You're trying to move forward. Just could just be saying that you fear that you're going to be stuck. And I think I told you guys in the February reading how, you guys had Mars in your sign in January and half of the month of February. And I was like, that's a good time to push, get things done. And I was like, you guys might feel a bit of a lull after that. But, it's not at all going to be like it was last year when you guys had the retrograde energy with your sign, and it just felt like things might have been stuck for pretty much the entire second half of 2018. What I was saying was, this time around, you might feel that bit of a lull, and Mars moves out of your sign into Taurus, which is what it's going to be doing, like I said, pretty much all of March. And between that time and then when the sun goes into your sign, because, whenever the sun's in the 12th house, that could make people feel a little bit lower on energy. But like I said, it would definitely be more of a short-lived thing, and that's what I feel here too. Maybe you guys feel like you're in a bit of a lull right now. But with all the energy in the 12th house, the Mercury retrograde, could just be really thinking things through. And then as you feel that energy clear up, you feel the sun come into your sign, you're ready to move forward, you have an idea of what to do, and you're seeing tangible proof of how those things are going to play out for you. All right, and then in the outcome position, we have the Queen of Cups. All right, for some reason it won't focus, but this is actually a court card for Cancer. So again, like I said, there's technically representation from all the water signs here. But it's certainly possible that some of you could be dealing with a Cancer. Maybe that too comes along. Cancers are, going to be having a pretty significant 18 months or so as well, because they have the North Node in their sign. On the same side, you guys also, Cancer is a sign that naturally squares yours. But with the North Node moving through that house, that's your fourth house. Some of you could be moving, some of you could be expanding your family in some way, expanding your home in some way. Maybe if that's what it is, maybe you do finally get that better paying job, let's say. Maybe you have to move to take it, right? Maybe that's what this represents. You have to move for that job. For others of you, it could just be enough of a financial increase that you might decide to upgrade where you're living in some way, shape, or form, whether it be, make upgrades to your existing house or move from an apartment to a house, for example. There's definitely a lot of finance energy on the table, so it could definitely be something like that as well. If that's the case, I would definitely say, don't make a big purchase in the month of March. If you have the money, great. Just try to hold on to it for a bit. Wait until April, maybe even, after the new moon in your sign, let's say. So I think that's early April, April 5th or 6th, I think. It's definitely like early on in the month. So if that's what you're looking at, making some kind of big financial purchase, probably be best to hold off on that in March at the very least. Maybe that's what this is about too. You get an idea of, okay, this is how I want to invest my money or what I want to invest it on. If you can, hold off, let all that retrograde energy play out. April would be a pretty good time to move on that. All right, now let's look at the oracle cards you guys got. The first one we have is Regeneration. There's the artwork for it, and that's number 46, if that has any significance for you. For example, maybe some of you, if you were born on April 6th, then this might resonate with you quite a bit. But we'll read the messages, see what they say. Okay, it says essential meanings: rebirthed, second chances, new opportunities. The Oracle's message: second chances are available to you now. Whatever opportunities you thought were dead are now revived in a more authentic, stronger form. Whatever you may have perceived as a failure or loss is now being replaced by something better and more powerful growing in its place. This rebirth is assured. Step into your new life. Destiny is being fulfilled in wondrous ways. So that's actually pretty cool there as far as the message goes. That reminds me kind of the Judgment card. In traditional tarot, that's what I would see that would point to that kind of energy for me. We don't have the Judgment card here, and I didn't necessarily see anything completely dead per se. But it definitely, with two aces in your spread in pretty prominent positions, there definitely could be new starts for you without a doubt. And maybe for some of you it is something from the past and you're moving forward in some way. Okay, the relationship message says the world is based on connections and relationships. No matter what loss has occurred in the past or even now, death and endings are only illusions. There is life after death, love after loss, and in this moment you are radiating the regenerative life force energy that makes you irresistible to love in all forms. Now is the time when you will see evidence of this new emergence. Can you feel it? Love is rising up to greet you. So, like I was saying before when I was saying, maybe other areas of life are starting to take off for you a bit. And like I said, and sometimes in those cases that also ends up drawing love into your life. So maybe that's what this message is reinforcing there as well. That could be what happens for some of you. Some of you might not even be, looking for love, but then as you're taking care of these other areas of your life, it just seems to come toward you with those cup energies that we see. All right, and then the prosperity message says, what happens when it appears you failed at something? Do you see the beauty in the lesson? The understanding that arises from difficulties is like a seed that lies dormant for a time. Then once it germinates in your subconscious, it pushes through into your awareness. It is becoming apparent that there is a new you, a new start. A more powerful version and form of what you began to plant in the garden of your imagination has surfaced. You are ripe for success. New opportunities, much better than those that came before, appear like gifts from the gods. Now is one of those times, when out of seeming loss and failure comes remarkable abundance. Do not dwell on the past because you really are experiencing a rebirth. So to do not dwell on the past, you are experiencing a rebirth part almost makes me feel like you're the main tarot spread supports you being in that energy anyway, that maybe in the past you were dwelling on the past, and now this represents that you're ready to move forward from that. And like I said, with these ace energies, it definitely looks like there are supportive energies for that anyway. Alright, and like I said, you guys got 2 messages from the Spirit Animal Oracle, so we'll look at those next. So the first one we got was Whale Spirit. It says, trust the great mystery. There's the artwork for it. And the number is 65. So we'll take a look at that. Oracle message. Whale Spirit is an ancient creature who was here at the beginning of time and who has seen everything, felt everything, and heard everything that has ever transpired on this planet. In the hidden realms where all things must gather first before manifesting into form, Whale Spirit is the keeper, singing the soul of the whole world from the deepest waters of the coldest seas. When Whale Spirit appears, it is a reminder that there is a great mystery that you must accept without intellectually trying to understand it. Some things cannot be known by the mind, only experienced through the heart, through intuition, and through the peripheral senses that part the invisible veil separating the visible world from the great manifesting consciousness in the hidden realms. Now is the time for you to immerse yourself in the great mystery of spirit, and to trust that within the invisible, what you can't see now are the seeds of your intentions being tended to by angels. So I will say the one interesting part there, if we just look at pure symbolism, when it says, what you can't see now are the seeds of your intentions being tended to by angels, maybe that's what it's saying. Maybe this being in the position of the environment is saying that, there's some work being done behind the scenes to line things up for you. This doesn't always have to be related to an actual love relationship. It could be multiple things. And like I said, with Mars spending all of April in that sign, this could just be you see that groundwork being set for those things to shift in that area of life for you. All right, and now we'll look at the other card you guys got. It's Seahorse Spirit. It says, watch and wait. There's the artwork for that, and the number there is 53. Take a look at that. Okay, it says, hovering gracefully, the seahorse observes with the perspective of one who is not engulfed by the drama, remaining at a distance from all the turbulence. Seahorse Spirit appears at this time to remind you of the need to be neutral and gain perspective. Your message from the Seahorse Spirit is, not my circus, not my monkeys. Spirit wants you to know that even if you are tempted to jump into the fray and try to fix things, the best way to serve yourself and others right now is to remain calm and simply watch and see. Another message here is that whatever your query, Seahorse Spirit asks you to step back from it, be willing to explore things from different angles rather than a single one, and just observe what is possible. From the perspective of the position of the neutral observer, you will discover a myriad of opportunities and deeper understanding of what you seek and why, and you will know beauty, truth, love, and wisdom. So it's funny that that message was there too. As far as I was saying, I did like how I was just thinking about the 4 of Swords and then the 6 of Swords. It's like you skipped that step of a potential ego conflict. So maybe, like I said, it is you avoiding some kind of conflict in some way, and that's what this is saying, that the energy is supporting that for you. And at least I think that my message for you guys in the February reading was saying that, if you had anything you needed to clear up, try to do it in the early part of February while you still had Mars in your sign. And then, like I said, kind of let that bit of a lull play out from there. And it looks like that could still be playing out a bit early in the month, especially seeing that in the past and then this. But looks like you get some pretty good forward momentum as the month carries on, which makes sense because, like I said, you have the sun moving back into your sign, so, and then Mercury coming out of retrograde as well. All right, and then the last thing we have is your mudra card, and you got the Vyana mudra. There's the actual gesture itself, For those of you who haven't seen this the past couple of months that I started doing it, basically mudras or gestures or poses you would do with your hands. You could do them while you're meditating. Usually you want to hold them for at least 5 minutes. Some say up to half hour, 45 minutes. If you're not someone who's into meditating, that would feel like eternity. Let's call it what it is. But 5 minutes, that's doable. So if this sounds like something that you could use help with as far as clearing up the blockage, could definitely give it a try. All right, and the keyword for this one is expansion. And I'll just, let the camera focus on the words here in case you guys wanted to screenshot it or pause it to read through it. But as far as the benefits, it says regulates blood pressure, purifies the blood, decreases restlessness and insomnia, reduces redness and burning of the eyes. So that sounds like something you could use some help with. By all means, definitely check that out. I'll also put the name of that in the description in case you guys wanted to do a Google search for it, or maybe even see if they have some videos about it on YouTube if you wanted to find out more about it. But aside from that, we'll wrap up there, guys. Like I said, to those of you who celebrate in March, happy birthday to you guys, and I'll talk to you next month. All right, bye.